to the show. Hour number 2. We got plenty coming up for you. Barrett Sally of collegefootballnews.com will come on, talk a little with us about how losing Bobby Petrino might dash the hopes of the Arkansas Razorbacks and their shot at playing for a national title in 2012. It's a really peculiar situation that Arkansas finds themselves in and where they stand right now. The coaching staff still in place. Bobby Petrino gone. Is Bobby Petrino worth 2, 3, 4 losses to the Hogs? With him being gone, are they more of an 8-4 team, 9-3 type team, as opposed to a 10-2, 11-1, or even a 12-0 team? And the more that comes out, I think Razorback fans are starting to realize there was no way you could keep Bobby Petrino as your head coach. And for those that don't come to grips with that, well, then clearly you aren't in touch with reality, because there's too many things that happen along the way, probably too many things that we'll never find out about that Bobby Petrino kept hidden, or that the university might keep hidden, that you'll never hear about. But they're things that Jeff Long looked at and said, if this ever was revealed, if for any reason anyone ever did find out about this, how humiliating would it be for the university? I think he looked at that, and I think he thought about it. But I don't know if that was the deciding factor. I think you could have looked at the fact that he lied on 4 different occasions when he could have told Jeff Long the truth. He could have told the media the truth. But he continued to do this, almost as if he didn't realize there was going to be a police report which would tell a different story. But I think between the lying and the fact that he handed someone $20,000 under the table for whatever reason to a university employee, someone in his own athletic department, was really what hung Bobby Petrino out to dry. And, you know, if there's anything you can say about Bobby Petrino after watching all of this unfold, and as it continues to unfold, it's that he's a brilliant football mind. He's a great coach, clearly. Look at what he's done with Arkansas the last 2 years. It's been unbelievable. But as for his personal life, the guy is a loose cannon. And he clearly doesn't think through things thoroughly the way he does at his job. And that's really the reason I think Bobby Petrino got himself in so much trouble. I mean, did you not learn anything from Houston Nutt? People were all over him when they requested the FOI and got his phone records and was able to see what he was doing and who he was talking to and who he was texting. But Bobby Petrino did the exact same thing, and it's blowing up in his face. I mean, if it hasn't already, it's turning into a miniature Tiger Woods type scenario. This could go on for months and months. It depends on how interested people stay in it. And the crazy thing is that there are still Arkansas fans out there who are trying to defend Petrino. I think the more that comes out by the day, the fewer that are still defending him. But there's still Arkansas fans out there who defend him and say this is his personal life. Well, guess what? When you become the face of a university, when you become the face of a football program, and when someone says Arkansas, you automatically think Bobby Petrino, you can't be caught up in things like this. You're a public figure. And when you decide to take that on, yes, you may be making $3.6 million a year, but you're also held accountable for everything you do because you're in the spotlight and you're the biggest name in the state. It's not about judging people. I don't care what Bobby Petrino does in his spare time as long as he wins football games. But when he decides he's going to start paying people $20,000 under the table, he lies to your athletic director and then hires the person he's sleeping with to work in the athletic department that close to him. That's a conflict of interest for a lot of different people. It's not about judging anyone. There's a difference between judging and holding people accountable. And in this situation, when you're the face of a state, you're going to be held accountable, whether it be by your athletic director, whether it be by the fans, or whether it be by the media. It was a tough decision for Jeff Long to make. And you know what? He could pay for it in the end. If he doesn't hire the right guy moving forward, he's in trouble. But as of right now, it looks like Arkansas has standards, especially to the national media. To those who are outside looking in, it looks as if Arkansas is a school that does the right thing. And I hope it stays that way. But now the scenario that Jeff Long finds himself in is being able to go out and hit another home run by hiring someone who is known for winning. And that could be hard as of where they stand right now. Bobby Petrino laid the blueprint. He set it up. He's got Arkansas in a better spot than when he first came in. He's done a lot for the university. Let's not forget that. But now you have to go out, you have to replace him, and you have to keep that momentum going. See, this was the problem with firing Bobby Petrino. While you really had no option, you're still hung out to dry if you're Jeff Long. Because if you don't hire the right guy, people are going to be pointing the finger at you. So who is going to be that next guy?
Welcome back to Stuck With Smitty. Here's Jordan Stuckey and Michael Smith on the Hogs Sports Radio Network.
Welcome to Vancouver.
All your wildest dreams
coming true. Trance music.
Get it.
The city life.
On the floor.
The Vancouver metro area. Take your mind away from the fact that...
From all of your inner inhibitions and outers too.
You're about to lose 60% of your paycheck.
You're about to lose 100 of yours.
This is
Vancouver!
This song's called
Let me hear you scream! And then like the foam drops and glow sticks and Smitty. What will you be doing? Will you be on stage just kind of like just letting your body? Oh God, you're that's very sexual. What you're doing there? What was your arms and your body? Look at how sexual!
The trance wave.
It's very sexual.
Yeah.
Just in case y'all wanted to know, whenever y'all wanted to download it, I could tell y'all enjoyed it. That song's called Vancouver City. So get excited.
Really? I wanna play that again going out of break. So just keep that.
That's going to be the theme song once Michael leaves, so we can be reminded every day of him.
Of Smitty being in Vancouver. That was a great song.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. I didn't mind it.
You called it on the techno.
See, I just feel like Vancouver's the kind of place where that's the music you're listening to as you're driving in your Audi A8 and you're wearing a turtleneck with a blazer, you know? And you're smoking like one of those long French cigarettes just flying through the metro area.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Like in the commercials. You know what I'm saying? You're like, what city is that?
What kind of car am I in?
Oh, that must
An
be
Audi,
Vancouver
an Audi A8.
French cigarettes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You
I can do
get
that.
your blazer, your turtleneck, your French cigarette.
What if I come back and I just totally switch my style up?
You're that
Like
guy?
straight Canadian.
I am that guy.
Well, you have like a beret, but like you're trying to rock it with like aviators or something like that.
Exactly. That's the look that I'm talking about.
Scarf. Scarf. You will be balling scarves at that point.
Yeah, I already told my mom. I said it's time for me to get a scarf. I told her last Christmas I didn't want a scarf.
Time to switch the game up a little.
I got to.
Have you heard
Bro,
anything
I'm
about the
sexy.
women in Vancouver? Anything to be excited about? Too covered up all the
Yeah,
time
do you
because
know?
how cold it is? Nothing?
Nah, I ain't hear nothing.
Haven't
about
heard
that.
anything about any Vancougers? No?
Hey, I like that. We'll just, but you got to keep it down just a little
Is this
lower.
good?
Yeah, and we'll talk NBA with that in the background. You just start it over when it ends. All right,
What are we
so
talking?
we're talking a little NBA. Oh, the Miami Heat last
How
night.
long have you been waiting to play that?
Since
Also-
Jordan gave me the idea. I've been waiting for us to talk basketball this whole time.
I'm going to say the score, and then you're going to play it again. The Miami Heat defeat the Chicago Bulls last night, 101-93 in overtime. We got to keep using that. It's gold. It's radio gold. Big three doing what they do. We got MJ on the line. MJ, how's it going, man?
I'm doing what it do, too.
You heard it, Van Gundy. That's what it's
Van
about.
Gundy. Which one? The Ron Jeremy Van Gundy or Jeff Van Gundy?
Jeff
Aw.
Van Gundy.
That is a good question. I didn't even
That
think
was
of
a
that.
great question. Where'd the music go?
It stopped. I'll start it over again.
You want that music for this entire segment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We just got to get the feel. I mean, we got 30 minutes left till you get on a plane and go to Vancouver, and we just got to get you back in the.
Congratulations on that, by the way, Michael. And it's gonna feel nice, not being able or not having to lock your doors. Public transportation is going to be nice and clean because you're giving 60% of your paycheck to that kind of stuff. But the economy.
Y'all keep reminding me of that.
I know, but you're going to love the payoff because it's going to be clean. The air is going to be fresh. There's going to be Vancouver. It's going to be nice.
And let's bring in former OU coach Barry Switzer. Barry, how are you?
I'm doing good.
I had John Roush on earlier, who played for you. Was an All-American for you. I mean, what was your memories of John? Because he told us some of yours, and it was just really cool to get to talk to him for a few minutes. But what were your memories of John Roush playing for you?
Well, first of all, he's a good player. He's out of Arvada West of Colorado. He was a highly recruited kid out of Colorado. Short, stocky guy. He was one of the 6'1" guards that was 260 pounds. And good size for his era. Could run, intelligent, tough, try hard guy. Really bust his rear end. Do everything you ask of him. Good student. Never was a problem. The kind of kid you like to coach. I wished all of them were like that. And he's one of those guys who could play in the Ivy League. You tell him to do one thing one time, and you never have to tell him again because he's smart enough to remember it and do it.
Well, I was just going to ask, what was that like? I mean, he said that a couple of schools, Colorado State and Colorado had passed on him, and it kind of upset him. And he said, "Well, I'm definitely going to OU." What is it that you saw in players like him?
First of all, you got to remember we were in an era you took 50 scholarships. And that was in a selective area where you only take 20. It's a little different today. You wouldn't take a John Roush today. You wouldn't take a Barry Switzer. You wouldn't take probably the team that I played on back in '59 at Razorbacks. There might have been one guy, Lance Allworth, that's Jake today.
Right.
But, it's so selective in the numbers back then. I would take 20 kids in Oklahoma that I knew would be on the field for 3 years, but they had the measurements. They had the height, the frame. There was some short in some measurements. They could play basketball. They had foot quickness. They weren't strong enough. They weren't big enough. They hadn't matured yet. They didn't know how to practice. They didn't know all those things that you have to teach, and it takes 2 or 3 years to do that at the collegiate level. And so it was a different era. John was part of that era, and we saw a kid that would bust his rear end and be a player for us. A lot of times, guys take. I've always said the difference in.
And Coach, you're talking about recruiting, and you brought it up a little earlier about how you back in the day you could recruit 50, and now you can't go out and get those John Roushes. You can't go out and really take as much of a chance on a certain player that you just don't know about. How has recruiting changed aside from that to you?
Well, there's more NCAA restrictions, limitations. My era was a free-for-all. I could see kids many times they want to. You got to remember the technology has changed too. You tweet, you text, you do all the things these days to communicate. You got cell phone. We didn't have cell phones in my era. I had to go to a payphone out in a parking lot with a pole. If it wasn't knocked out or broken, you could make maybe a phone call from a payphone. But you did it by home phones, your office phone. You made appointments. You went to see kids at schools. You were unlimited and all that. But I spent a lot of time on the road doing that, and you could see kids as many times you want, so you could out-recruit people. If you could sell your program and you could sell yourself, you had a chance to be successful.
Coach, you think part of the reason that we're hearing so much about Oregon or Ohio State or Auburn and all these NCAA allegations or investigations, do you think part of that has to do with the whole, there's just more media these days? There's more that, like you said, the Twitter, the Facebook, all that stuff. There's just so many outlets that, we're talking more and more about, cheating in college football, or has it always been going on and we just haven't really known about it?
Nothing's private anymore. It's all public information, so therefore we're all going to read about it and know about it. And it's always existed. It exists at every program in the country. There's going to be players know the rules. Players break the rules. Players are the ones who go out and look for the low-dollar deals. Athletic departments and coaching staffs do not orchestrate illegal recruitment or do these things for the athletes. The athletes do them themselves, and they violate the rules.
So, you sit there and say, Nebraska's really screwed things up for the Big 12. If, the league doesn't last, I don't really want to get into the whole conversation of what's really next, but what is next? Do you see an Oklahoma joining the SEC? Do you see I
see a Texas and Oklahoma moving together is what I see. Wherever they go, both will go.
Do you have any preference of what league? Whether it be because we talked about the whole super conference thing last year, and are they going to the big? Are they going to the Pac-10? Are they going to the SEC? Do you have any personal preference?
No, I really, SEC would make it it would be without question the super conference of all conferences. It would just be so tough. But it would be great for television, and it would be great television dollars. It add a lot of dollars to the contract. But, I don't know what's going to happen. I worry about the Big 12 existing as it is, and don't see it. And if Texas leaves, Oklahoma has to follow where they go because of recruiting. We got to recruit the state of Texas, and the only way we can recruit the state of Texas is we got to be able to be with Texas. If we have to compete against them, be in another league, then that hinders our recruiting opportunities in the state of Texas.
I like your style, Coach. I got another question for you. You really perfected the wishbone in a lot of people's minds, and is that something that would work today? You see it at Georgia Tech, you see it at Air Force.
Good offense. Well, no question about it. Air Force, Navy, and Air Force. These people wear. That's only gives them the only chance they got. If I could recruit great talent for those positions, I'm going to tell you something. I would be running spread offense, but I'd be running the triple option. All I do is look at every time I come out and watch these spread offenses, I look at how people play them on the perimeter. I look how you play me on the perimeter of that offensive formation. I can outnumber you. I can all of a sudden be having a tremendous advantage in the relationship on the corner with the option game. And you know what? That's why I've always had the black quarterback, because I had the great runner. Who in the championship games this year? 2 black quarterbacks, Oregon and Auburn. It's not the drop back passer that it is going to, in most cases, going to take you there. He's got to be 90% of the time. He's got to have a great game, and he's got to throw the ball extremely well that day. And you help a one-back set runner if you do run misdirections, if you do have a running game in your quarterback, and you do run the option, and you do run counters with the quarterback's ability to run the ball off of it. Yeah, it's a whole other dimension to an offense. And these are the things that I look at as a coach and analyze them when I look at spread offenses. But it's a philosophy you have to be committed to.
All right, Coach. Yeah. Thanks again for joining us. Good stuff.
All right, you bet. Take care, guys. Bye.
It's Coach Barry Switzer.
Let me give you a bit of information. You want to date? You get a puppy. You go buy a puppy today, and you go walk that thing around Wilson Park for the next 3, 4, 5 weeks until it turns into a regular dog and nobody's interested in petting it anymore. You walk that thing, and that is an instant conversation starter. Women will be like, "Oh, this I love your dog. What's its name?" And then you're like, "No, forget its name. What's your name?" And that's kind of how that gets going.
Is that your go-to line? Is that?
Yeah. No. That's not really what's. She'd be like, "Oh, your dog's so sweet. What's its name?" I'd be like, "That's not really what matters right now. What's your name?" And that's kind of how that starts. We'll get to the dog later. Let's talk about you and me and our future and everything. Wedding bells, families, kids. Let's just, let's get that all out now.
I have a feeling that this is coming from personal experience, Jordan.
No, I never have. If I was in that whole realm, I'd probably go out and buy a dog. Now, I would probably send it to a shelter after that.
Just use the dog for your own personal.
You want to date a really hot sorority girl? You go down to Wilson Park with a puppy, and you wait for people to come up to you. You sit on a park bench and wait for girls to walk by, and they'll talk about how much they love your puppy, and then you tell them how much you love them, and that's how that gets, how that gets started. Then you take that dog to the shelter. After that, you get rid of it. You get a new one.
It's too much responsibility.
It's too much. Hey, look, it's a factory. I guarantee you, I promise you, I could go down there, I could get 4 or 5 dates in a matter of and this is I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it's there's no work. You don't have to do anything. You should just sit there with this stupid puppy.
It's not even really. Is it like a car?
Getting laughs at the VIR. That's the first. That is the first.